As the most popular sport in the world, football has a huge following and fan base, with billions of people around the world tuning in to watch their favorite football teams compete against each other. However, when countries are the ones who compete against each other instead of teams, a different aura can be felt. It goes beyond football. Welcome to Who's Number 1. In this video, we are going to take a look at the top 10 national football teams of all time, learning about their success, history, and greatest players. But before we get started, can you guess who is going to be number 1? Let us know in the comments section below. Now, with that said, get ready for the list. Number 10, Hungary. While it may surprise the younger and more casual football fans to see Hungary in a list like this, the truth is that the Hungarian national team was a force to be reckoned with many decades ago. In the 1950s, they were known as the Golden Team. Their peak football came in 1954 when, after being undefeated for 32 matches, they reached the World Cup final as favorites. They ultimately lost it to underdog Germany in a controversial game that some thought to have been fixed. After being defeated in the World Cup final, they never reached the same heights again, being knocked out of the tournament in the group phase in 1958. Their greatest and most known player ever is Ferenc Puskás, who was the star of the team during those years, and is considered by many as one of the greatest players ever. Number 9, Netherlands. The Netherlands is without a doubt the greatest national team to never have won a World Cup. Having reached the World Cup final 3 times, and with the incredible amount of talented players they have had over the years, it's hard to believe they have never won it. They are the team that has reached the most finals without winning any of them, and the second team with the most final losses, behind Germany, who has lost 4 of them. They fell short in 1974 and 1978, and more recently in 2010. Despite their heartbreaks in the most popular sporting event in the world, they do have one European championship under their belt. The Netherlands is one of the greatest producers for football, having produced legendary players such as Johan Cruyff, considered one of the greatest to ever do it, and a football revolutionizer, Marco van Basten, Arjen Robben, Ruud Gullit, and Dennis Bergkamp. Number 8, England. Though England is always a threat in international competition, when it comes to success, it has come short often. They have only captured one World Cup, way back in 1966, and they have never won a European championship, though they got very close in 2020, when they were defeated by Italy in the final. On top of that, their only World Cup victory was a highly controversial one, with many claims on the game being rigged. It seems unbelievable that the inventors of football are not more successful internationally, especially given the plethora of talented players they have had throughout their history. These include Bobby Charlton, Sir Bobby Moore, Sir Stanley Matthews, David Beckham, Wayne Rooney, and Steven Gerrard, among others. Number 7, Spain. Spain is the only national team in history to win 3 major tournaments in a row, winning the Euro Cup in 2008, the World Cup in 2010, and the Euro Cup again in 2012. The country home to the greatest football club of all time is tied for the most Euro Cups won in history with 3. Until the 2000s though, Spain was an underachiever, given they hadn't accomplished anything despite the many talented players they had over the years. However, this changed when arguably the greatest generation of footballers ever burst into the picture with a style that revolutionized football. Tiki-taka is what they call it. The style was taken from Barcelona's Pep Guardiola and was centered around passing. Spain had many great players before this, such as Raúl, Fernando Hierro, or Emilio Butragueño, but then came Xavi, Iniesta, Casillas, Sergio Ramos, David Villa, and many others, who, accompanied by a great coach and system, made history for the country. Composed almost exclusively of Barcelona and Real Madrid players, the Spanish national team won its first and only World Cup title in 2010. Number 6, Uruguay. Uruguay was the first ever world champion, winning the first edition of the FIFA World Cup in 1930. The team conquered another one in 1950 when they beat the favorite Brazil in what has come to be known as the Maracanazo. Though it is true that they have fared well in the Copa America, winning a record 15 South American titles, they have not won the World Cup again in more than 70 years, which is the longest World Cup drought of any World Cup winner. Some of their most legendary players are Obdulio Varela and José Leandro Andrade, and more recently, Luis Suarez, Diego Forlán, and Diego Godin. If you see 4 stars above Uruguay's crest, it is because they claim that their wins in the 1924 and 1928 Olympic Games should count as World Cups, though this format hadn't yet been invented. Uruguay's greatness relies on its past success, as they have not yet been able to come even close to replicating it in modern times. Number 5. France. Nowadays France is one of the most dominating teams in the world, but it wasn't always like this. The French had many frustrating years in which they would underachieve in international tournaments, never winning anything until 1984, when they won their first European championship. Then came the great Zinedine Zidane, who led the French team to their first ever World Cup victory in 1998, to their second European championship win in 2000, and to the World Cup final in 2006. Aside from Zidane, other French legends are Michel Platini and Thierry Henry, among others. 20 years after its first ever World Cup win, France won its second World Cup in 2018, led by then 19-year-old Kylian Mbappé, who is now one of the greatest players in the world. For the past decade, France has been dominating international football, and with young stars like Camavinga or Tchouaméni, it doesn't look like they are about to stop now. Number 4. Argentina. The current reigning world champions, Argentina has produced some of the most iconic and legendary players in football history. First came Diego Maradona, who led the team to their second World Cup title in 1986 and to the final in 1990, and who is considered by some to be the greatest footballer of all time. And just when it seemed no one could do better than him, a guy by the name of Lionel Messi appeared, and after struggling for more than 15 years to win a trophy for his country, Messi brought home the Copa America in 2021, and the World Cup in 2022, at age 35, all while losing the first game of the World Cup to Saudi Arabia. For the past 15 years, Messi was considered the best player in the world. Now, he is considered the best player in history. And the country has had many other legendary players. With the likes of Di Stefano, Riquelme, Zanetti, Batistuta, or Mario Kempes, it seems that Argentina is never short on talent. They are one of the most accomplished national teams ever, with 3 World Cups and a record 15 South American championships, tied with Uruguay. Number 3, Italy. The Italian national team is currently at low hours, but it didn't used to be like this. Italy was the second country to ever win a World Cup, doing so in 1934, and they repeated in 1938, led by the legendary Giuseppe Meazza. They have a total of 4 World Cups, tied for second place, with the latest title being won in 2006. They have also won the Euro Cup twice, the last time being in 2020. Despite being crowned European champions in 2020, Italy did not qualify for the World Cup in 2022, marking one of its biggest failures ever. Throughout history, Italy has produced many great players, like Franco Baresi, Paolo Maldini, Andrea Pirlo, Del Piero, Roberto Baggio, Francesco Totti, and Gianluigi Buffon. Number 2, Germany. The German national team has enjoyed loads of success throughout its history. They have won 4 World Cups, which is second all-time, and hold the record for most European championships won with 3, tied with Spain. They have finished as World Cup runners-up a record 4 times, for a record 8 World Cup finals played. Though they have not performed well in the last 2 World Cups, Germany continues to be a force to be reckoned with, and has produced a great load of talent. Players such as Franz Beckenbauer, Gerd Müller, Lothar Matthäus, who captained Germany to its 3rd World Cup win in 1990, Oliver Kahn, their greatest goalkeeper ever, and more recently Miroslav Klose, who is the all-time leading scorer in the competition, Philipp Lahm, Bastian Schweinsteiger, and Manuel Neuer, all which helped the team get its last victory in 2014. Number 1, Brazil. It comes as no surprise to see that Brazil is the most successful national team in football history. When casual fans think about football, they think about Brazil. The South American nation has had a big impact in the football world for many reasons, beginning with their exciting style of play, continuing with their dominance in the World Cup, and finishing with the great players they have produced over the years. Pelé, Zico, Ronaldo, Romario, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Cafu, or even Neymar, are all football legends that will be remembered forever. And they are still producing highly talented players, such as Madrid star Vinicius. Despite being the most successful team ever in the World Cup, winning a record 5 titles, Brazil is not the most successful team in the Copa America tournament, holding just 9 South American titles, far from Argentina's and Uruguay's 15. Despite all of its talented players, Brazil has already gone more than 20 years without winning the World Cup, conquering their last title in 2002, and for La Canarinha, that is a long time. And with that we reach the end of the list. We will have to wait and see if anyone can dethrone Brazil as the king of football. If you have enjoyed the video, smash the thumbs up button, comment where you're from, and tell us if your country has enjoyed international success or not. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you can enjoy our weekly top 10 content. This is Who's Number 1. See you next time.